Hello everyone, my name is Dean Kashiwagi. I'm actually presenting a PhD thesis on the sustainability of the best value approach in an organization. It was actually done by Joseph Kashiwagi. He's not here. I'm presenting his thesis results today. Well, of course, the best value approach was created because project management has been so, quote, inefficient and ineffective over many, many years. And anywhere you look, you can find failed projects. Anything in infrastructure is a failed project. And so at the Performance-Based Studies Research Group, we developed the best value approach, which eliminated all these problems. It became the most licensed technology created at Arizona State University. Well, what were the results of the best value approach? They could minimize the procurement cost by 50%. They could minimize the cost of the project anywhere from 5 to 30%. 98% of the time, the customers are satisfied. And the process actually minimized risk created by vendors to 1%. And of course, the client's project managers were able to minimize their effort by 90%. And the question that arose is, with these results, why was this approach so difficult to sustain? That was the research question. Why couldn't organizations utilize the best value approach? And so basically, he took the traditional approach, reviewed literature, surveyed all the users of the best value approach, did case studies that the organization was working on, analyzed the data, worked in focus groups, talking to people, coming up with the answer on how to create documentation and, quote, instructions that would help sustain the best value approach. In the literature review, you can immediately see what's going on. When the best value approach says to minimize communication, collaboration, the passing of technical details, that is in the wheelhouse of what most organizations do. And you can go right down the left side, look at the right side, and begin to realize that in order to successfully implement the best value approach, there needs to be a change of paradigm. The surveys identified the same thing. Looking at the major problems, it's the problems of organizations. It's what project managers traditionally do. Looking at the projects that this organization was running, utilizing this approach, you can see the same thing. So what Joseph did in his thesis, after collecting all the information, talking to all the participants, he then went and created documentation for that international organization so that when anyone wanted to implement the best value approach, they would just go to the documentation, which was on their website, and it would walk them through step by step on what to do. Wow. What was the research conclusion? Well, the research conclusion was, if you have a better understanding of the best value approach, it's going to go better. But basically, problems that were identified that were stopping the organization showed that you needed a documented process. So they did the documented process and put it on their website. So everyone now in the purchasing group of this large international organization could now successfully implement the best value approach. Well, we're looking at this not only Joseph's looking at. Joseph's doing his PhD, but the practitioners are looking at this thing and we're seeing something go on. And we had kind of got like an intuitive feeling of what was going on. But it's so like different. And it's so hard to explain to traditional people. But what was going on was, we finally, after all the documentation was done, it's put on the website for this organization. Everybody agrees it makes it easier to sustain. It didn't have the impact that we thought it would have. And the reason why it didn't have the impact, we now went back into the logic of information measurement theory, and we began to realize if people have to read, if people have to think about it, if people are starting to make decisions, it doesn't matter how much documentation you have, they will bastardize and not run the true process. And so we finally realized we have to simplify, make it so simple that people don't have to read and don't have to think. It's by instinct and simplicity that the best value approach can actually be successfully run. And so this is going to take the next couple of years. We're now tracking some of the projects, and if any of you have any questions on this, there'll be a time for Q&A, and you can get back to us. But thank you so much.